Okay, so you guys want to hear about the full enlightenment and Nirvana and moksha and Samadhi? Okay, let's talk. Let's talk about that. Spiritual awakening. So I was going to go through this, which is all the work, but you got to have the motivation too. So let's talk about the end game. So we brush our teeth, go to bed, sati, which is mindfulness, or we're starting to empty our mind. We're starting to sensory deprivate, and we'll go through certain stages and remain in focus. And if we can get a deep focus, then we will be entering a state of being raptured. And it can begin, nothing is happening, you're in bed, but then all of a sudden a little bit of color, and that gets more intense the more sensory deprived you are. And this is looking at your nose, and it starts to evaporate. And even from here, you have to add some of that your own, and then you'll come somewhere like this. And this we call breaking through. Yeah, or wake-induced lucid dream. If you want a really humble word, wake-induced lucid dream. And then there is a shock and white light. And here I said anatman because there's in this state there can be an issue with perceiving time. There can be issues with perceiving self, and the best way to do it is to stare into that therapy lamp, right? Stare into this and just be okay with not interacting with any of the senses and self and time for a little while every morning, okay? And then we have to recover. I have to remember who I am. I have to remember my mission, right? And then starts dream check while in the dream, or absorption, right? And we want to confess or feel or admit whatever senses we are able to absorb, like sight. Do we have a nose sense? Can we feel our mouth? Teeth falling out. Can you feel your mouth? Can you feel your hand? Perhaps you can feel and sense touch. And we want to confess that we feel it. We want to be very clear. I feel this. This is something I do, and we have to remember that. Remember our Atman. Remember Atman, and then there will be you're going to be brought out of it, and then there will be a dark shock. So here's bright light shock entering here, and then there will be a fading to black and waking up in bed, remembering dream, and then writing it down in your dream journal, right? And there will be hypnopompia, but don't look at it, because now because what if you had samadhi? What if you were able to do this? What if you actually absorbed having a physical body? Well, then you cannot, you must remember it before it is taken away. This memory that we just created here is not connected to the current experience. It's connected to the body that you have over here. This is the body that remains when there is no body. So it's very important that you remember this, that you remember and acknowledge your attainment before the memory. There will come a time where you don't remember the memory. Look at him, he's confused. He is barred off from the contact that allows him to remember. And this is where the hypnopompia comes from. They're the colors, they're the trippy visuals of, there still being some soul left, of the light body, or whatever you want to call it. So in order to be able to do this, to have the full awakening that you can go around in the cycle completely, this here, which involves a lot of really like going to the toilet, brushing your teeth, cleaning your room, meditating, doing some creative work, and essentially cooking food, carry water, chop wood, all the boring stuff, jobbing, going to a job, earning some money, taking care of yourself, shaving, pack the bags, go to the gym, have a shower, have a power nap, all of these things here that makes this possible to do this later stage. But people don't want to hear about that because they're like, hey, when you sit down and take a pee, always do a dream check so that you don't soil your bed, because it's very boring if you start coming over here and it feels very real. So you piss yourself and then you wake up and you have to change the sheets, right? Even if you can't do it, it's good for you to hear about samadhi and absorptions and liberty. What does it mean to be free? Right? Because, maybe you can't handle, like, I want nirvana. You can't handle nirvana. They pass over, but they're sloppy. And so they are carried away, multiple people at a time, because they don't have any weight. So that's very easy. And then they are reincarnated according to the illustration. You need slow vibration experience. And so you have to go into a experience where you can learn that. Coldplay lyrics, think about the highest chakra. Should it, what I have written here, the higher self on clocks, misheard lyrics. Just pause and read that, and here's the training, right? Here's the training. Then there's rapture, every night is a clean slate, and then there's recovery, my dream check. And then there are absorptions, the ticking clocks, da 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 da, and it's like blinking, that's a timer. Swallowing, that's a timer. Breath and heartbeat's a timer. Diaphragm is a timer. Expansion, like of the body, like a balloon. Those are absorptions. You need those because, look here, Superman All-Star. Superman shoots Lex with a gravity gun to alter time. It makes him more dense. So the particles he's made of are standing more still, and it takes more power to move them. And what he senses is that he became heavier, right? And because of this, the effects of the super potion goes out faster because he's expending now more energy to move, so his digestion is higher, right? And basically what you need to take away from this is that if you vibrate slower, time moves slower. And when you dream, time moves very fast. And I looked while I was dreaming. Then waking up 19th March, which is today, there was a clock on the wall. And I said, yeah, well, there was a clock on the wall over there. That's nice. And I said, excuse me, that was not what I saw. It was moving too fast, right? So there are some supplements, but look, basically you have to remember to stay dense. You have to remember the nerve habits of staying dense. And that's what the absorptions are for. Now, I know about Buddhists and jhana, but honestly, if it's not an absorption, if you haven't absorbed anything, if it's not with you permanently, don't call it an absorption. And from this, now Muladhara chakra is fundamental. Now it makes sense. Now the two pillars and the earth sun, the soul, is now important. Dragging up the light of the world through your soul, and the razor's edge, the balance, the tipping point. Balance is super important, right? You have that's a way to reach mindfulness. And Uranus, open your ass and your heart and mind will follow, right? And the balcony, the genitals, very important energy. You need to transfer that. And I can tell you ways to do that and you don't want to be this person, right? Look at his asshole. It's so scared. It's so clenched. He's an uptight person. nervous, tense asshole, right? And explore texture and all kinds of practices that you can use. But you see this? What are we pulling up through the chakras? What are we trying to upload, right? You know, we are trying to get a sense of slow vibrational frequency. Then, when you're very exhausted, you're going to pass out and enter into a dream. And in this state, you're so exhausted, it's difficult. But as you get closer to the morning, you start getting more used to it, and thus you get better at it. And like the last dream, while still a spontaneously created experience, there's actually a story. It makes more sense, right? So it's like, hey, look, I can't go to the toilet. This is a clothing store. Why is there, like, it's a chance here to discover that you're actually out. You are moving, you are seeing, but you're not using your eyes. You're not using, like, the material body is not where you reside right now, because you know that one is in bed, right? And so you also will see this when you wake up, because you're aware enough, you're awake enough, your mind is awakened to the point where you see these things. But here's the part people don't like. They don't like journaling. They don't like working like this. What is this? This is not nearly as cool as my drawings. It's like, what does it say? It says, got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And it's fucking Saturday, bro. It's Saturday, and I'm getting up at 6 o'clock to do lysterapi or kaffe, which is light therapy, SAD lamp, and coffee. Yeah, like in the drawing. And having some I thought omega-3 vitamins, of course, trying to also do that together with the routine, so I can look into the light and also get my own supplements, and then write down what I dreamt. Believe me, there's nothing like dream journal. It's cool to read it, right? But it's not fun, to like, this drawing is very fun, but when you're waking up at 6 o'clock and you're reading these dream journals and writing, you're already tired, and then you have to start writing down stuff. It's hard work. And believe me, I know how you can do it. I know how you can achieve it, but it's just not as exciting as looking at the drawings of these experiences. Say, look at Alex Gray art. It's like, oh, that's super cool. And then you go to some retreat in Peru, and it's like, oh shit, I have to work. This is hard work, and it's this, and then you're done. And it's like, look, you're not even halfway done. Now there's integration. And this is kind of like the same thing with meditation, because you can absolutely compare, especially these night experiences with sleep and hypnopompia. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You can come to the same place.